Viewers, at the top tonight, we're going to focus for just a few moments on the situation that is unfolding on the streets of Delhi. Over the last 1 month, viewers, there has been a spate of crime. And this is only just one such sample of what has been going on now for a consolidated period of about 4 months in the Union capital. As we head closer to the elections, a trend that was first observed about a year ago has begun to emerge and acquire worrying proportions. Slashings, Supari attacks, shootouts, and you have infinite number of robberies, rapes, and other terrible crimes that are being committed on the streets of the Union capital. It is so brazen. It's happening in broad daylight. Look at that incident on the 2nd of September 2019. You can see on your screens how people are being stabbed in broad daylight by goons. On September 7th, the situation just as bad. On September 16, a young woman is pushed to the ground, brutalized, robbed. And it just continues, viewers. A journalist quite recently also found herself being pulled out of a three-wheeler of an auto rickshaw, dragged along, chain snatched, and it repeats itself. It has become so much now a part of the imagery of the city that people are beginning to feel very, very insecure. Blissfully unaware is the Commissioner of Police. By now, the Commissioner of Police would have started holding press conferences, telling people that he's on top of his job or explaining why things are going wrong. The statistics are being, however, thrust in our face, and we are being told that there has been a reduction in some crimes to the point that the situation now is totally under control. Does this look like under control? Let's go back to those dramatic pictures. Just 10 incidents which we can show you because some of them have been televised or captured on camera. Hundreds of others have gone unreported. At just 6 p.m. today, another person was shot. A 56-year-old man robbed at gunpoint. And we are going to hear the same excuses, the same statistics. It is absolutely, viewers, a travesty. There's an open hijack of law and order by individuals who are only interested in looting. I don't know when this is going to become a voting issue, but the elections are going to be held early next year. And consider these visuals. The Delhi police incidentally reports to the center. The Union Home Minister must, through our channel, have a look at what is going on. Multiple bullet injuries. This is becoming like the Wild West. You would think that people in a city as secure as Delhi, the Union capital, wouldn't be brazenly roaming around with weapons and using them in broad daylight. But it is happening, viewers. It is happening. These visuals are not from the back of beyond. They are from very, very prominent localities. You can even look at the amenities all around you. Pakka roads. These are not village areas. These are very close to some of the most, in fact, frequented metropolitan hubs. And there's more CCTV footage coming in of a shootout. Let's just put that out, Nizam Bhai, before we move on to another big story. But there you can see it. At the very end, September 26, 2019, CCTV footage captured on mobile phones, it's all over the place. We have no answers. The Chief Minister is not making this an issue. He should be holding press conferences. The Governor has called for facile meetings, but nothing will emerge from it, I can guarantee you. And Delhi's Police Commissioner is missing, completely missing from the scene. Don't know where he is. We move on, however. We'll come back to this at the end of the show and update you on the latest here in Delhi and reactions. But we move on. The Lutyens lobby, viewers, that demonizes Hindutva and links Hindu faith to extremism must watch this Times Now expose. Times Now has accessed a top-secret report that reveals that a new uncompromising hardline Islamic radical terror group has been founded in Pakistan with the specific aim of targeting India. Yes, the Ghazwa-e-Hind is now going to be launched with immediate effect on Indian soil. What do we know is contained in these documents? A new anti-India terror module declares holy war against India. The Vilayat-e-Hind, formed under the leadership of Abu Muhammad al-Bengali because the individual hails from Bangla-speaking Bengal or Bangladesh. We're trying to confirm this, viewers, but we're not getting enough details. The group pledges Ghazwa-e-Hind to snatch Kashmir from non-believer India, as it calls it. Vilayat-e-Hind draws inspiration from uncompromising Wahhabi strain of Islam. Secret assessment report explicitly links Vilayat-e-Hind to the ISIS, the Islamic State that is, which is today getting a very wide berth both in the Kashmir Valley, in Kerala, in parts of Karnataka, in the east, and also in Pakistan. The report claims ISIS is creating smaller vilayas to increase operations in India. It's all contained here, viewers, in this report. I want to go across to Nikunj Garg, Internal Security Editor. Nikunj, this is a frightful prospect because this document reads that jihad is the only way to expel India from Kashmir. The use of the word jihad, Ansar Brothers, Armed Resistance, the Muttahid Jihad Council, all of these point towards a massive war that is being directed towards, in particular, members of a faith, and that faith happens to be the Hindu faith. Nikunj.
Well, Rahul, yes, and this is precisely the reason why a very small geographical area, few police stations, few parts of a few districts in the Kashmir Valley, the government cannot lift restrictions. I mean, it's not as if the government is interested in not lifting the restriction from the 8% area that is now left under comprehensive curbs. 92% of the geographical terrain is free. And what is this 8% area? People must understand. These are the original stronghold of Jamaat-e-Islami. Jamaat-e-Islami is a force which has radicalized to begin with. Of course, there was then, enmeshed with other forces and intertwined play of many other factors, including Pakistan's push of radical ideology. But Jamaat-e-Islami, which is also partly financed by Pakistan, is basically responsible for levels of extreme radicalizations in the areas that even today are facing curbs in Kashmir Valley. It is nobody's case, least of all this channel's case, that the people should be under ill-defined periods of time facing restrictions. But the crisis is that if the government comprehensively lifts the restrictions from these areas, it's forces like this Ghazwa-e-Hind and other Pakistan-sponsored players who will get a free run or a relative free run. Security forces would obviously be there, but a relative free run, causing mayhem, panic and carnage, of which the worst sufferers would be Kashmiri people, and the bloodletting will then again be blamed at Government of India's doors. So this is the crisis: radical Islam, radicalization. It's not that as if the the Prime Minister of India has not been briefed appropriately that he is taking up these issues at the highest multilateral bodies. This is the crisis why you can't lift curbs in an indiscriminate manner.
Well, stay with us because I'll bring you in just a few moments, Nikunj, because this story is going to get bigger. When I bring out also photographic evidence, which I would like your which I like your inputs on. I just want to quickly open this up and get a few views. And I want to begin first with Vivek Srivastav. Now, Vivek Srivastav, the left parties, the Congress, other members of the opposition worry infinitely about what they call is saffron terror, Hindutva terror, Hindu ascendancy, hegemony. But here you have a situation where a terror outfit that is being backed by Pakistan has made it its purpose to attack Hindus. Will you tonight concede that there is something called Islamist terrorism, that it poses the biggest threat to this country, that radical Islam, as the Prime Minister also applauded when President Trump used those words, was on the right track?
Right. See, Rahul, first of all, I think it is the United States of America which is the biggest terrorist state and created the Islamic terrorism. They backed the Taliban, funded the Taliban against the Russians, made a mayhem of all the nations which are there in the Gulf. It's all the politics of oil and money that they do. That is the first part. So, I mean, let us not get a certificate from Trump or give a certificate to Trump regarding Islamic terrorism. These are the people, this is the nation responsible for it.
Sir,
point number one.
So, one minute.
Point number two.
1 second,
all
sir.
That you are saying,
on that point, I just want to remind you, since you're giving us a bit of a history lesson, just listen to me. Let's take it one by one. We'll come to point 2. Just listen to me.
Yes, Taliban.
No, 1 second. I don't know if you remember very clearly what happened in Iran.
Yes.
1979. Americans were taken hostages.
I remember Afghanistan. I remember Iraq.
Okay, remember. No, if you remember, sir, then I want you to
Taliban,
call out.
Who backed the Taliban against the Russians? Who funded the Taliban against the Russians?
Srivastava ji, give me 30 seconds. Allow me. Allow me.
It's because of oil, sir.
Allow me. Allow me. Allow me. Just because the left has a cozy association with Iran over the years, you can't bring yourself to call out one of the global epicenters
the left
of jihad.
Does not have a cozy relationship with any capitalist country.
Sir, go back further in time. Relax, calm down. Let's go back further in time. Let's go back to a state where you held sway for many, many years. Let's talk about the jihadist mentality of those in the Muslim League and other political parties and outfits. Let me come to you, sir. Let me calm down. In Bengal. And I don't know, the turn of the century, it led to a partition there.
No, I think you don't know the politics of left. I don't think you have read Marxism.
Right.
I don't think you know our ideology.
I'll tell you something, sir.
I'll tell you something. Back any religion whatsoever.
No. You have been the worst apologist. 1 second, sir. You have been the worst apologist for Islamic radicalization.
Yes.
You look at what is happening in Kerala today. There has been no attempt by your state government there to clamp down.
You look at what is happening in UP.
What is happening in Kerala? You don't know what is happening in Kerala, sir.
And this government is saying that we are going to make a... No. Kerala is very fine, very developed, 100% literate.
National Minority
It's a beautiful place, God's own
Commission,
country, as they say.
1 second, sir. The National Minority Commission itself has written letters to the center talking about rampant love jihad and other activities that are being sponsored by the likes of ISIS and Islamist radicals.
To take care of UP and Bihar first.
Okay.
Kerala is much better than most.
Your heart bleeds because you're so busy appeasing a vote bank. No problems. You're entitled to. I want to open this out further.
Sorry.
I want to bring in Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen, how long are we going to live in denial? Sushant Sareen. How long are we going to live in denial?
Rahul, I don't think many of us are in denial. Mr. Srivastav certainly is. For example, when he says they've never supported any religious movement, the fact of the matter remains that the communists completely backed the demand for Pakistan. they were at the forefront of the demand because of some hoary theory which they had invented on the basis of Marxism, Leninism. And they were backers of the Pakistan movement. In fact, they passed resolutions supporting them as right to self-determination. I could give you chapter and verse where they have made these kind of deals with the Islamists. For example, in Iran, you were talking about, in Iran, the original revolution was led by the leftists, and the leftists then mixed up with the Islamists so that they would get more ballast to fight against the Shah's regime. And then, of course, the Islamists took over and massacred the leftists. So they got their just deserts in Iran.
All imaginary
please
stories.
Ask him to keep quiet. We kept quiet
you
when
don't
he was
know the
talking.
theory and you're yapping.
Rahul, he has to give me that courtesy.
He is not a political, 1 minute, he is not appended to any political party. Respect his scholarship. Respect his scholarship. Please, allow him to finish. Yes.
So I'm not. So on your question on denial, look, I am not in denial. People like him are, and his ilk are. And they have always made, this term which Tariq Fateh coined, Sharia Bolsheviks. It kind of explains to you the mindset of many of these people and the ideologies they subscribe to, where everything else which the Islamists do is kosher. It is explained away as the fight against colonialism. It is explained away as the fight against capitalism or global capitalism or imperialism or what have you. But they never really call the Islamists to account. So whether it is Kerala, whether it is Bengal, where these people supported the growth of the Islamists in Bengal, wherever you look at the communists, they have supported the Islamists. And see, I can understand that, because communism, like Islamism, is part of the Semitic faith. So for them to make accommodation with the Islamists is par for the course. So so as far as the denial is concerned, I think as a country also we have been in denial to the extent that, we always say this, that we have been untouched by the fires of jihad. The fact of the matter is that radical Islamism is spreading in Indian society at an alarming pace. We might not be seeing all the manifestations of it just yet, but that's happening, and there are many reasons for it. And I think to the extent that it is still limited is some cause for celebration, but we cannot be sanguine about the spread of this ideology, this pernicious ideology in Indian society. In places like Kashmir, of course, this has taken very deep roots. People deny it and they make different excuses to explain away the kind of separatism which is being espoused in Kashmir. But the fact of the matter remains that that entire separatist movement in Kashmir was based on Islamism. Was based on political Islam. Everything else, Azadi and what have you, was only a veneer which was put onto that entire movement which they had created. So we are not in denial. The people like Mr. Srivastav and others are in denial. So I don't think you can accuse people like us, and they will remain in denial. I don't think they are going to come out of that denial anytime soon.
Okay, let me also tell you that the Khilafat movement contributed to the emergence of early Indian communism also. So if you're giving us a bit of a history lesson, sir, here's a reality check. Nonetheless, let me just bring in Mr. Abdul Razak. Mr. Abdul Razak, I want to ask you, sir, I want to ask you a very blunt question tonight, and don't dodge it. I want a straight answer from you. I want to ask you, you are very quick to take on Hindu hardliners. Why are you then not taking a position against Muslim radicals threatening India? Why don't you denounce the Burhanwanis, denounce groups like the PFI?
Nobody is denying.
No, I want you to denounce. I want you to come out and say
no, let us
that
not
you
brand,
think that
let
these...
us not brand
no, one
PFI
second.
Something. It's
that
a political
radical
party.
Islam today,
If it was a
from
terrorist party,
Kashmir
the BJP
to Kanyakumari, I'm asking you, sir, I'm asking you a direct question. I'm asking you to denounce. Will you denounce? Yes, no.
Rahul,
will you denounce the Zakir Naiks of the world? Will you denounce the Zakir Musas of the world? I'm asking you a question. Now answer my question. Don't give me theory. I'm asking you a straight point
I cannot give you a yes or no reply. I'm not denying. there might be some traitors and some cowards who would be supporting Pakistan, including some Muslims, unfortunately, and Hindus, as said by Digvijay Singh ji very recently,
And Hindus are supporting.
including some BJP party workers. I have come with proofs. I have come with proofs. I have come with evidence. I have come with facts. I can place it in front of you if you give me some time.
Go ahead.
I am not denying
Go ahead.
that there might be
You're saying
some
Hindus support,
traitors,
no,
some
Hindus are
cowards, first of
supporting
all,
the
Rahul.
ISIS. Hindus are supporting, you're saying, the Pakistani deep state. Okay, tell us,
Yes.
what is your proof? Tell me, what is your proof? Show it to us.
Yes.
Very serious charge. Prove it.
ISI agents arrested in Madhya Pradesh linked to BJP party leaders privately express anguish over people infiltration, possible infiltration. 10th February 2017, when Madhya Pradesh state government and the government at the center was BJP, the Madhya Pradesh ATS, Anti-Terrorism Squad, arrested 11 people who were BJP party workers, and the main accused, Dhruv Saxena, was the head of the Bhopal BJP IT cell.
Okay.
They were found to be
So-
using SIM
so-
box
So you're saying
enabled
that
mini
there are some
telephone
rotten
exchanges
apples and
for
they cut
making
across
calls.
religions and they support. Okay, let me get a reaction from the BJP spokesperson.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yes.
Malviya.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Well, Rahul, thanks for getting me in here. First of all, this falsehood that is perpetuated now for years on, saying that there was somebody who was part of the BJP IT cell who had linked with ISIS and whatnot. I mean, we really have not heard of any such karyakarta in our ranks like this. If there were any arrests made by the ATS, they would have made it on the basis of the inputs that they had. So let them stop trying to link these people to the BJP, because that's really far from the truth. Number two, we are talking about Islamic jihad or terrorism. Let's admit that there is Islamic jihad in this world, and it essentially derives from the teachings or the interpretations of those teachings by some who claim to be the champions or the guardians of Islam. Now that is where the problem lies, and that problem today is so widespread. It ranges from what we saw in 9/11 in the States to India, to Canada, to United Kingdom. We've now seen them spread everywhere because Islam
No, you haven't
or
responded
Islamic
on the
jihad
point that
as
was
they
made.
use it is also a political
the charge
ideology
is
and a
that
thought.
there are as many.
Rahul, this
One
is a
minute.
photograph of Dhruv Saxena.
Okay.
With
You need to
Shivraj
respond
Singh
on
Chauhan,
Dhruv
the Chief
Saxena.
Minister.
Let me also bring in
This is a
Subrashta.
photograph of
Subrashta,
Dhruv
what do you
Saxena,
make of this?
Balram Singh,
Dhruv Saxena,
Satvinder,
the arrest
Babu.
of these individuals, these Hindus who were siding with the Pakistani deep state. As Mr. Razak says, drawing an equivalence. Don't single us out, he says.
Rahul ji, I would like to make it very clear that it's not about specific individuals who side with the Pakistani deep state, who are whose identity is being cloaked as a Muslim or a Hindu identity. We have so many panelists here on your show and beyond who openly advocate the Pakistan's line of argument and defense. So what do we say about them? I think it's ridiculous to make these arguments on a national television. What I feel is, Rahul ji, that over the course of history and over the course of these few decades, as Sushant Sareen ji says, we have had instances from Kashmir to Kerala that has sort of defined a moment of radical
Please,
Islam in
Subrashta,
India
respond
too,
on
as
the
it is
BJP
happening all
people.
across the globe.
Please respond on the BJP people
somebody on
who
the,
were a part of
somebody
this
on
whole
the
thing by the
panel,
media,
Rahul
which
ji,
Amit
talked
Malviya
about
is
the fact
denying.
that you cannot
No,
blame
they will
PFI
not.
for
Yeah.
whatever.
They
She
will not.
responded.
They
She
will
said
speak
it makes no
history.
difference.
There
A
is
couple of
not
individuals
what
here and
happened
there
to
doesn't
BJP.
make an outlook
Happened
and
in
an
the state of
ideology.
Kerala. We all know his hands were chopped off just because he used an university-approved
The exception
curriculum
doesn't
to
prove
put
the
out
rule,
a
sir.
passage and test
That's what she's
students
saying.
on the basis of a
For 2
particular
years, I'm
paragraph.
talking
His
about 10th
hands were
February
chopped off.
2017.
That was an act of Islamic terror. Who are we trying to fool? I wouldn't want to waste the viewers and your time, Rahul ji, by recounting what happened in Kashmir. We need to understand
So,
that
Rashtra,
Islamic terror
please
is a
comment on Dhruv
reality.
Saxena.
By
We
saying
need
that,
your
one is
esteemed
not
views on
saying
Dhruv
that
Saxena if possible,
one is not
which you are
saying
not
that
trying to give it
Muslims
to
as
us.
a community are to be blamed. But we must acknowledge the fact, without dilly-dallying and without getting lost in the whole rhetoric of political correctness, what the problem is. The fact of the matter is that globally, Islam is being used, Islamic verses are being used, and this religion is being used to promote all kinds of ludicrous ideas in society, most often which end up in very violent attacks. I don't need to recount what happened in US, what happened in Syria, what's happening in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, when our own parliament was attacked,
and what the US has been
we
doing,
had an attack in
what
Mumbai.
the US
All
role
of
has
them
been in the
have
Gulf
bearing on the
countries.
Ghazwa-e-Hind
Please talk
project.
of that also. What is their role in Iraq?
And I'm
what has
really
been their role
sorry,
in
but I am
Afghanistan?
not-
Can I
What nonsense are you
I
talking
said
about,
the
Mr.
Taliban back
Srivastava?
Talk of this.
You know, the
What
uncool
nonsense
Taliban-
are you talking
Let us
about?
not
A
talk
country
about
needs to
global
defend
issues.
itself.
Let
No,
us
one
stick to
second.
Kashmir.
No, listen.
Let us
One
stick
minute.
to
Let me come in.
India.
Mr.
Do you know
Srivastava,
how
doesn't a
to
country have a right to defend its borders?
By any
No, of
kind
course
of
it doesn't,
action.
because
I
you also
said
had a
what I had
problem
to say
with
about
India
Every
taking
country
action
has a right
against
to
Islamic
defend itself.
terrorism
But
on the
the
other side of the
Americans
LOC
interfere
when we
with other
attacked
countries.
Balakot. You said
The
that was not
Americans
accepted.
attack other countries,
Oh,
destroy
come on.
other countries.
Mr.
It's an
Vivek
imperialistic
Srivastava,
power.
Mr. Vivek
The America
Srivastava,
is an
get
imperialistic
off,
power.
get
And
off,
they will never
1
be
minute,
with India.
get
They
off
will
your,
never be with Pakistan.
1 minute, get off your high horse. You are out of touch. You are deliberately trying to poison this debate. Take
I'm
it in a
absolutely
particular
in touch.
direction
imperialistic
because
power
you
like
want to
United States of
appease a
America
particular
will
narrative.
ever help India
You
or
have
Pakistan.
seen what has happened to your political party, sir.
No, we don't
Reduced
appease
to
any
nothing.
narrative.
I want to bring in Sushant
If
Sareen
you
on this
say
point.
that
Sushant Sareen,
8% of Kashmir
look, 1 minute.
needs to be
Sushant
restricted, free the
Sareen, we need to,
92%.
1 second. Sushant Sareen, I want to ask you a fundamental question. Why is this Lutyens lobby that complained about rising Hindu fundamentalism, gave back all its awards that it received some years back, silent on the surge in radical Islam from Khorasan today to Kerala? Tell us, situate it.
Okay, before I come to what you said, let me just try and attempt to answer what Mr. Razak, the question he was raising. And I don't see why the BJP should deny that there was a bad apple in the BJP. A man who was a traitor, if at all he was, a man who was arrested by an ATS which was
Because Sushant,
under their
there was nobody
government.
like that in
And
the
I
land.
don't see why they need to be apologetic about it, because
Sushant
can I
ji,
finish
not one
please?
bad
Can I
apple,
finish?
please don't
Can I
downplay.
finish?
Mr.
You want
Razak,
to
let him
answer?
finish.
I am
Basket
giving
full
you
of
an
bad
answer.
apples.
Now just
Let him
because
finish.
you show
No, please
हो यार,
accept
just
this.
सुन
Not
तो लो
one bad
यार.
apple.
But you don't have
Why
to
not
get so
out of the
excited about
Sanatan
things.
Sanstha?
Arey,
Arrested
you
in Pune.
listen to me, then you answer me back, na? Okay. Okay, you can give me 10 examples. Fine. I accept all of those examples. Those people were arrested and put in jail, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that I can give you many pictures of Congress leaders and NCP leaders pictured with Dawood Ibrahim. Were they part of the Dawood Ibrahim network? Is that what you are suggesting because you quote one picture of this guy with Shivraj Chauhan? Or for that
Absolutely, you are
matter,
right.
there
So
was
you
this famous
cannot
Tandoor
typecast a
murder,
religion.
youth
You
Congress
cannot
leader.
typecast
Is all
communities.
Congress
You
party
cannot
members
typecast
part
religion.
of that
People just like
network,
that.
or do they all
Don't
commit
play
those
this.
kind of
Saying the same
crimes?
thing.
So
What
this is
the
a
BJP
useless argument you are
anti-Saleh, he
making.
has confessed
You are
to it.
making a useless argument. Now
That is a wrong
we are talking
argument.
and you are
I
making
am
this
making
argument
some people
because you want to
have
deflect the
dropped
argument
Ibrahim.
Come
from
on.
the
Stop
big
typing
issue
that
which
BJP
Rahul is
party
raising.
worker.
Razak,
Stop
He has
typecasting
Mr.
confessed
Razak,
to it.
Mr.
Deflect the
Srivastava,
argument.
allow him to
BJP
speak.
flag.
Mr.
He was
Razak,
himself
it's not
Mr.
appreciated. Let
trying
him
to
finish.
deflect the
I will give you an
argument.
opportunity to respond. You
So-
can't bring
so-
yourselves to
so
condemn
it's okay,
Burhan
you are
Wani
raising that
and you are
question
sitting
that
here on
question
this
needs to
national
be
television
answered,
and talking.
But don't try and deflect the argument.
You can't bring yourself
Now-
to condemn.
Now on the larger
Go ahead. Sorry.
See,
Go
Rahul,
ahead.
on the larger issue of what we call about radical and the spread of radical Islam, I think part of the problem is that many of these parties think that if they are seen to be opposing it forthrightly, they will, in a sense, be undermining their own what quote unquote vote bank, which is stupid, because I don't see why you should lump the entire Muslim community with the radical element. And in fact, you do great disservice to the Muslim community by thinking that if you are going to speak out against the radical element,
Yes.
you're going to call them out, you're going to insist on their prosecution and their sidelining, that the rest of the Muslim community is going to actually start opposing you, which means that you are then lumping bring them together with these fellows. And I think that is grave injustice to the patriotism of, by and large, the Muslim community.
Precisely.
So this is why I insist and I say that these people should take a forthright position. But what do? They don't catch hold of Abdul Nasir Madani in Kerala, who was responsible for the Coimbatore blast. And what do these people do? They want to give him oil massages because he is not, he's having some arthritic problem. Is this the way you treat a terrorist? They go and appeal to him to use his influence with his voters.
Sir,
in
the left, the opposition in this country and a group of activists knocked the doors of the Supreme Court at midnight, got up the Chief Justices to hear a mercy petition. Look at the charade that was played out for an individual who was awarded the death penalty and exhausted all his options for the 1993 Mumbai blast.
Rahul,
this is our country. You had an individual like Afzal Guru, who the state had to hide and hang. The UPA actually had to, in secrecy, hang an individual who was sentenced to death. By whom? By the Supreme Court. Why? Because there were activists in Jawaharlal Nehru University who called it a judicial execution, and the UPA and others were so conscious of wanting to be on their right side that they even in fact went there, the Congress party's chiefs went there and shared a stage with these individuals. This is what I'm talking about. Mr. Razak, can you answer me, will you tonight condemn
Rahul,
Afzal Guru?
Rahul,
will you tonight condemn?
Many instances.
Will you tonight? I want to ask you, sir. Zakir Musa as well as Zakir
You're
Naik.
just singling
Condemn
things
them.
out.
You
You're
condemn
just
them and we'll
pointing
have a
at specific
conversation.
things. Look at this.
You condemn
I
them.
am quoting a Times Now report.
You condemn
Rahul,
them,
I am
sir.
quoting
You
a
first
Times Now
begin by
report
condemning them.
where
Can you condemn them?
At
Yes
least
or no?
19 cases where Muslims
Why
were
can't
just
you come
picked
out
up,
and condemn these
where
three
Muslims
individuals?
were just picked up thinking
Why
that
is
they
it that
are
the left wants to
terrorists.
engage separatists who
They
want,
spent 22
no,
years
one
in
second,
jail.
who want
Later
Pakistan
they
to
were
rule
released by
Kashmir?
the courts,
Why is it that
taking the
D.
credit
Raja
of the person.
goes to the valley, Sitaram
There is
Yechuri
an
goes to the
agenda.
valley to check up on
Rahul,
Mr.
there is an
Gilani?
agenda.
I want to ask you this question.
There is an
Why is it
agenda.
that some
He has
members
to go
of
to
the
the
Congress
valley.
party refer
Because
to
Kashmir has
terrorists
been
with
mismanaged.
honorifics? I want to
Kashmir
ask
has
this
been
question.
mismanaged by
Samjhauta
Modi
Express
government.
case,
You have
the
mismanaged
Tiffin
Kashmir,
bomb blast
and
case,
now you're making
Mismanaged
stories.
Kashmir? What were you doing for 70 years,
The
sir?
Pehlegam blast
Do you know how many people have
all
died in
the
Kashmir?
mismanaged
How many people have died in the
You
last
cannot keep
1.5
the entire
months?
state under
2 people.
terrorists.
Just
You
2
have
people.
mismanaged Kashmir.
Let me bring in
And
Mr. Amit
our
Malviya.
MLA Tariq
Amit
Ahmed
Malviya,
had to be
respond to
brought
this
here
charge. You
after we
mismanaged
had to move the
Kashmir.
Supreme
That's
Court.
what we are hearing from
That
these
is how you have
apologists.
mismanaged Kashmir. And now
That
you're
is what
making
we are
a
hearing
story
from
over
these
here
apologists.
That ISIS is
You
the crisis,
mismanaged.
so we have to
Respond.
have army presence in Kashmir. The army presence is not needed in Kashmir. Please normalize
Rahul,
Kashmir.
you
Please
know,
normalize Kashmir first.
if these
You
gentlemen
have
stop
mismanaged Kashmir and now
shouting,
you're
I think
making
we can have a
stories.
conversation.
We have 30 seconds, sir. Respond.
All right. Okay,
What
okay.
shouting?
Calm down.
Tariq Ahmed,
Okay.
who was an elected
You know,
MLA, had to
Rahul,
be-
first
had
of
to be
all,
here
Kashmir
after
is
the
not
Supreme
an
Court.
issue of our making. It has been a problem for the last 3 decades. And before
Kashmir
that,
is an issue.
the way
You have
Pandit
mismanaged
Nehru
issue.
handled it
You
from the
misused
point
the
of
army
accession and then surreptitiously
Okay. And things
slipping
are
into
not
Misuse the army
70
there?
and 35
Misuse
days.
in what capacity,
We
Mr.
see
Srivastava, was the army
the-
misused?
That
You
is
tell
what
me.
you're doing.
What is the army supposed to do? Put their
Come
hands
on,
up when they're being
please.
attacked? Ridiculous.
You are, see,
Stop
the
it.
Modi, yeah, let
Stop
me
it,
know,
Mr.
now speak.
Srivastava.
You
You got it
cannot
completely wrong
run
tonight.
the country by the
You
army.
can't bring yourself.
The army is not
No,
supposed
you
to be
are
used against
drawing
the
It's
false
shocking.
equivalence
You don't use
between
army
It's
against
Hinduism
shocking
and
that
terrorism,
they
but
would
you
deny-
can't bring
They would
yourself
deny
to call out
that
what's
the
there
Muslim
in the
pundits
face.
were
There is
hounded
physical
out
evidence of it,
by
there is
Islamic jihadis in the
material
valley.
evidence
Don't
of
have an
it,
excuse.
and there
You
is
cook up
now
men stories.
an ideological evidence of it. But you cannot bring yourself to condemn because you are so bothered about your vote banks. Shame on you, sir. I'm going to take a short break. When we return to another big controversy that is erupting in the South. We come right back.